Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishma Simi Merosirus Bas Mordechai, live from Park City, Utah, with some of my good chaverim here. What's your name? Mati Belsky. YY Belsky? You are? Nice. What's your name? Danny Newman from Human from Englewood. President of the Shul of Havas Yisrael. Havas Torah. Very nice. And you are? What happened to your twin, dude? Wow. The two twins, they made it through Shraga, and now they're going to NYU. Twins. Schmack. What's your name? Yaakov Weil. We played a lot of ball together. Back in the day. All right. Where do you live now? You said you live in?
President of Havas Torah of Henderson,
MS? Havas Torah and Havas Torah. This is great. Oh, let's turn around. This is not normal. Okay, this is not a coincidence. We have Rabbi Weil, president of Havas Torah in Henderson, Nevada. And we have Danny Human. Hold on, I got the wrong guy. Here we go. He's hiding over there. Of Havas Torah in Englewood. That's crazy. Two presidents, the same name shul. Okay, there's no such thing as coincidence in this world. That's a pella. Beautiful. Okay, we could stop the shir right now. We have enough entertainment already. I wanted to show you something super interesting for me. Oh, believe it or not, Avremi, no buttons. We never spoke about buttons here. My buttons don't work. That's crazy. He's the guy that invented. These are my buttons. I told him, listen, we have in the Beis Medrash in Eretz Yisrael, we have a camera room, like above the Beis Medrash. So we have guys in there, and they have the whole. It's like a mini studio, like 10 screens and the joystick. And they would feed. I do these charts. We have artists that work for us, do all these charts and pictures. I'll show you a bunch. And when I said, okay, show me this chart, I said, I can't work. I need to be able to control it, on, off. So he came up with this little thing. I have this in the Beis Medrash. I push the button, it goes on the screen. The whole Beis Medrash is full of screens. Anyway, they're dead now, still dead. And we usually test these buttons beforehand, but being that I just woke them up. Oh, they're on. Here we go. So let's see if it works, though. It's not really working. Oh, this is a map of all the satellite locations that we have in Eretz Yisrael. So we have a shir in Hebrew also. Same exact shir, but it's at 9 o'clock in Hebrew. So when I give the shir in Hebrew, these are the places. We have 15 places. So we have 500 people live every single night. And sometimes we communicate with them during the shir. It's very cool. What else do we have here? I just threw this in. This is the Beis Medrash. This was during the shir. You could see that's me talking from right over here. And the guys come to watch the shir live at the Beis Medrash. Some of them. This is just a bunch of guys doing the daf. This is Avremi, who got up early. This guy right over here. That's Avremi Cohen. And Eli Stefansky. What else do we have here? Eli Grossness, on Friday, for some reason, only on the Hebrew shir, one of the madrichim from Ezra caught my son Shalom learning the daf whilst everyone else was doing camp stuff around him. Today, my brother caught my older son Ari doing the daf while in line in Ben Gurion. Thank you, Rebelli, for changing our youth and tomorrow's adults. I even got to change Mati Belsky, finally. After half a shas, he's finally a changed man. He got up early on vacation to do the daf. The fact that you don't use your holiday as an excuse, it's also a lashon for vacation in England, they say holiday, and continue to give the daf every day, come rain or shine, is a tremendous machayah for us listeners. Thank you. Keep going, Machayel Chayel, LEG. This one is one of the most interesting messages I got. I'll share it with you. Hi. My name is Travis, a technically non-Jewish man who has introduced more than 50 people to MDY, mostly non-Jews. Thank you, Travis. Now we have it's a whole masechta where I say goy, 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 and I have to say idol worshiper, idol worshiper. I got to be careful. He introduced 50. That's what he says. Massive thanks to Shalom K from Borough Park. My connection to the Jewish community began before I was born, when my Puerto Rican mother arrived in New York and was hired by Ed Schwartz, an Orthodox man who helped her start her life here in New York. My father's mother is a descendant of the Moskowitz family from Galicia, and my great-grandmother was a vital part of my life. I grew up a non-Jew who was always passionate regarding Yiddishkeit. Years later, I found myself working for Yachad, helping individuals with special needs. One day, a man with special needs cried tears of joy after I noticed he had been sad because I let him be DJ on the ride home. The man requested Jewish music and nothing else, so I played S.O.A.N.I. by Shlomo Karlebach, the same song my great-grandmother used to sing to me as a child. We danced and hugged and sang every lyric as we've been friends for decades, and the song ended just as we arrived at his house. Though this year has been turbulent with my 18-year-old dog nearing the end of his time, this journey has brought me, don't laugh, the greatest positivity I've ever felt. Every morning I watch Rabbi Eli Stefansky's shir before walking through a beautiful park on the way to work where people greet me with Boker Tov. Despite knowing almost no Hebrew, I always reply the same back. MDY helped me to find the best version of myself, and I would love to let out a great ah. I extend my gratitude to Shalom K for turning a chance meeting in Borough to a lifetime of positivity and spirituality. Every hour is a gift. P.S. I also love safaris. You hear this? Moirdik. Anyways, on that note, we could start the shir, I think. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll show that a little later. The Masechta is sponsored by, you gotta be the altitude. Once again, just keep on drinking. I give the advice, but I didn't take it myself, and I played pickleball for the first time in my life, and I have a splitting headache. Unbelievable. David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Mari Reb Shmuel Shbaruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Dov Zichron Livracha. Masechta sponsor anonymous. Hatzlachas Baruchim V'Gashmis Chus Achenu B'nei Yisrael and anonymous. May our learning be a shield of protection and a source of unity and blessing of Am Yisrael. Joel Gedalius, Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalius. That button's not working. TCS Israel powered by Talk and Save. Anonymous Refor Shlema Sarah Bat Modaram and Shira Bat Sarah. Avi Kamiansky, Refor Shlema for Harav Yisrael Zev ben Manu Rachel, Dr. Avram Epstein and his wife Rivka, for Shlema for Shoshana Bas Rezel. These are all weekly sponsors. Kinnovations LC Nishmas Reb Chaim ben Reb Elazar. We hope you and your family have an Achama, Eli, Chaya, Kalmo, Yisrael, and Tehillah. That's the father of Mark Ashkenazi, who was just nifter yesterday. He was a Magid for 40 years. 40 years. Daf Yomi Magid. Mark Ashkenazi, we all know, he's the one behind the scenes. He's the one that does the shir when I'm giving shir here. And so I have to thank Avrami Cohen for stepping in instead of him. The daily sponsors, Jeff and Annie Zuckerman, Lezich Nishmas Avrom Yaakov, Ben Binyamin Alevi, may his neshama have an aliyah. Anonymous, Daf, Samach Aleph, for Eli's favorite Daf, Stefansky, Eli, Daf Samach Aleph, Shaya, Yaroslavitz, Lezich Nishmas, Ishti, Hinda, Miriam Bas, Binyamin Zev, and Shoma should have an aliyah. Jonathan and Brina, Brian Ashif, Hamokim Menachem on the loss of Rebberal wine, Zecher, Tzadik, Levracha, he brought Klal Yisrael together. Mordechai Zapaznik, Zecher Nishmas, Reb Chaim ben Reb Elazar Ashkenazi, may his neshama have an aliyah, may his son Mark and family have an achama, may he continue his father Nachas with all the wonderful things that he does. I told Mark, it was shocking actually. He called me up last night. We're supposed to get on and do the shir. So I get a message, call him, so I call him. He says, I'm sorry, I can't do the shir for 7 days. And I'm like, oh, he must have heard, like, first thing, okay, he hurt himself? What do you mean 7 days? He had some sort of procedure of, and then like slowly, like it hit me. It took me some time. But I told him, I said, listen, I didn't know that his father was a Maggid Shir. Maybe I heard it a while ago. His father's a Maggid Shir for 40 years. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes around, goes around. At the end of the day, he became such a vital, vital part of MDY, and the amount of people that he's mechazik and all the stuff he does behind the scenes is unbelievable. Anonymous Friedman, thank you for spreading Torah to the world. There's a new one, Anonymous Friedman. Simeon Shiger and family, Lidishmas, dear wife, mother, and great-grandmother, Beth Shiger. Broch Avigail Bas Tzvi Hersha Cohen on her first yahrzeit. MDY Art, monthly. For Shlema, for Yonatan Eitan Bebeshev Broch, a young guy in our community with a brain tumor. the Refuah Shleima Mordechai ben Esther, the Refuah Hayela Daniel Zev ben Ayelet Esther Raboisai. Here we go. It's actually a brand new sugya, although it's a little bit of a continuation from yesterday. And as a matter of fact, it's chazara of what we learned yesterday. There's a nice little surprise at the end of Shir. We're going to go through 4 or 5 different cases that we had in the past, cool cases in just in animation, and to bring the whole sugya back together as we finish the parak. Says the Mishnah. Here's just a little bit of a riddle. Typically speaking, when your window faces your neighbor's window, it's not a very good thing. When is it a very good thing? When your neighbor's window faces your window. Hanukkah, okay. Anybody else?
When you're dying and you need someone to call. If you could watch the, if you could watch the one,
What?
If you could watch, if you could watch the guy.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't touch the.
Very good. Very good. So I'll bring it down to something that's more relative to today. That is the problem of yichud. So we don't even realize. I don't know if I realized this. When I had kids and when I was younger. But here's a problem. When you have a 9-year-old son and you want to go to a wedding and you bring in a babysitter, what do? There's a real problem of yichud. I don't remember thinking about it too much when I had a 9-year-old son, 10-year-old son. No, my oldest son, who's now 30, when he was 9 years old and I wanted to go out with my wife, we brought in a babysitter, usually a girl. And now it's a problem of yichud. The problem of yichud starts at 9 years old. So you're going to say, I don't care, whatever, but it's an issue. Now, there is no issue if people could look into your house. They could look right through your house and see the entire house. Those days it was small, didn't have all the bedrooms and everything. Then it becomes non-issue. I'll talk about it a little later, what you could do. But that gives us a little bit more of an understanding what's going on here. This whole Masechta we're talking about Avodah Zarah, we're talking about this parak, we're talking about Yain Nesach. We're talking about the problem of an idol worshiper using the wine for Avodah Zarah. So, the Mishnah says like this: if someone uses the non-Jew's facilities, his house, his factory to produce wine, the grapes, the machines, it's all the guys. It doesn't matter who. The bottom line is the guy owns the wine, but he makes a deal with him. It's a good deal. He says, "Listen, I know a bunch of Jews. They spend literally 4 times the amount on wine than your typical non-kosher product. I'll take your product, I'll make it, I'll market it to the Jews, and we'll split the profits. It's a great deal." Yeah? Told these guys, I was just in the store here, saw a piece of meat like this big. It's like $35. The same piece of meat, kosher, is like 4 times the amount. Same thing with the wine. By the way, I just remembered. I have to say Yishkoyach to Yochi Herzog from the Herzog winery. He sent me 2 bottles of wine Erev Shabbos in a heavy box, and these 2 Sfarim. These are all about Yain Nesach. It's called Sefer Oitzer Yain, Hilchos Yain Nesach, 2 of them. So, of course, I read the entire thing from cover to cover, both. Thank you for having me now. I read the cover. That's all. So far, I read the first. I see even says Mishpachas Herzog here, right in here. But anyway, so Yishkoyach Yochi, Yishkoyach for the wine, delicious wine. But Yochi knows, and the rest of the guys know, that I don't know if it was Yochi, but back in the day when we were doing brachas, or maybe it was Psachim, and I brought a bar tanura. I shouldn't have done it. I brought it like a bar tanura, and I said, this is problematic on Leil Seder. My wife uses it, but it's better to use red wine. The next day, I get like a red bar tanura, and he says, I watched your shir, and I saw what you said. I'm not whatever. So you got to be careful what you say and how you say it. But the bottom line is, And then there's the whole thing: could you pour red wine into the bartanura and make it red? And there's Reb Chaim Kanevsky on it. But if you want to drink bartanura, he has a red version of it. Okay, great. So, we're still in the first line here. So he has this wine. I love this this art from today. It's very cool stuff. You aren't here. Maybe this is where they crush the grapes. You go up those stairs in the square, crush the grapes, and the juice flows out and goes into that little cistern over there. Then you take it and you put it into these barrels, and you're good. Now, if there's a window open to the Rosh Hashanah, says the Mishnah, even though this wine is in the non-Jew's house or whatever it is, his property, if there's a combination of Jews, non-Jews, it's great. Also, but if it's in a city that is non-Jews, just non-Jews, also it's what we call today a mashgiach. You have to put somebody there and watch the wine. You don't really have to sit there and watch it. So this is the concept that we know of the mashgiach, that's yoytze v'nichnas, a guy that could go in and come out. You don't know when and how, so the non-Jew is fearful for taking this wine and using it for Avodah Zarah. So this we have to explain. The Gemara is going to talk about it. What does it mean exactly? All their property is one. It could be a question mark. Is it one? Or it could be a statement. All non-Jewish property is one. We'll see what that means. Now, we're going back to the first case. The Jew is producing wine in the non-Jew's house, and he has permission. And the guy says, I received payment. He's lying, really. But basically what he's saying, what we're trying to do here is, this is a case where the non-Jew doesn't have the ability to take the wine. He's not in control of the wine. In other words, he wrote him a fake receipt. You don't owe me any money, and they'll have a side deal where the Jew will pay him for it. Then mutter, then the wine is kosher. But if the non-Jew is in control and he won't allow him to take it out until he gets paid, this was a story that happened in Beit Shan yesterday when we said the word Beit Shan. I just asked if anybody from Beit Shan is watching the shir, and nobody that I know of, because I didn't go through my emails today, but so far I don't know of anybody from Beit Shan that watches the shir, unfortunately. This is the exact story that happened, that the non-Jew is in charge of the wine, and therefore, since it's in the non-Jew's property, it becomes usur, becomes a problem of yain nesach. Remind me maybe after, while we do the maskana, we could talk about it now. Today, what's important for us today? We have a bottle of wine that we open on Friday night, and we leave it on the table, and we walk away, we go to sleep, and then the cleaning lady comes in, and she cleans off the table, she moves the bottle over there. Is it yain nesach or not? That's I think the only issue that we know about today. So the little that I know, again, I'm not a rabbi, I don't paskin, and the little that I saw, I'm very makpid on it, but I don't know why. Because basically today, the cleaning ladies that I have and that you guys have are probably not idol worshippers. They probably do not use wine they're not moving it for Avodah Zarah. And one of the biggest points that we're going to see today, I'm just saying it now because I know I'm going to forget to talk about it, so I'm just throwing it out here. One of the biggest things that we're going to see today is that if an employee or a non-Jew is fearful that they'll get into trouble for doing whatever they're doing, so if they get caught taking the cork out, they could get fired, then it's not considered yain nesach. And I think most of us, you have a cleaning lady? Sometimes no. You have a cleaning lady?
But it's not just a cleaning lady. If you go to an event and they give you wine,
right?
Kosher wine, they don't work for you.
Right. So that's something. Right. That's another issue. Very good. Correct.
I remember my wife called told him, so the point that the guy poured wine, and I realized I can't drink it.
Correct.
He was not afraid of me. He was a hired hand for hours, and he opened the bottle of wine for me that I ordered, and he gave it to me.
That's something else, because that's another case that we're going to see today. He's actually moving the wine. The wine is pouring right out of the bottle. I don't know what his thoughts are during that process. So that's another issue.
But
Correct.
even
That's a
over
problem.
the court, that guy's not afraid of me. He's a hired hand for 2 hours.
Okay, right, because he's a waiter. So he's allowed to open corks. I'm saying cleaning lady. My cleaning lady, if I caught her taking out the cork, she would laugh at me. But whatever, she would be a little embarrassed. By the way, today is the Stipler's yard site. The Stipler was Reb Chaim Kanievsky's father, and he was considered the Gal Adar when I was a kid. And I lived in Bnei Brak for 3 years. My parents made Aliyah from Brooklyn to Bnei Brak, and I lived just a few blocks away from him. And on many opportunities, my father would schlep me to see the Stipler. What's amazing is that it's 40 years ago. I can't believe it. Like 40 years. Like I remember the Levaya, the Spadim, everything. In fact, I was one of these crazy, kids, and I heard that he's very sick and he's dying. So I went to his house. I wasn't going to knock on the front door, but I decided he lived on the Komat Karka, which is ground level, like here, like in this room. So I went all the way around, and the window was open. So we're talking about right over here, looking through the window, and I saw him sitting on his chair, and Reb Chaim Greineman, which is another big gadol, came to visit him, and he was nifter the next day. So I saw him the day before his nifter, which for me is a big schos. I saw him. I have stories. I saw a Ruach HaKodesh story with him. I'm not into Ruach HaKodesh, but I saw it with my own eyes. And this story I told you I said in shir a bunch of times that you want to hear the story. You know the story. I'm going to start saying it. Walter Carey was friendly with my father. He's not alive anymore. Walter Carey, Alav Shalom. You heard? You know the guy? And he asked my father to go to the Stipler for him. And my father had a special magic marker that Stipler couldn't hear anymore. And he took out this magic marker, the Stipler magic marker, and he wrote down. He asked Walter Carey what's his name. He says Yontif Ben whatever. Sorry, now you remember the story. And then so we went to the Stipler, and the Stipler looks at the name. He looks at this thing, and he tells my father, "There's no such name." So my father starts screaming in his ear. I remember the whole thing, screaming, "Yontif and Sar." No. So my father walks home the whole time. He's like, "Tell me, I don't understand." So we get back to the house. My father calls up Walter Carey. Back in the day, every minute was $25. I don't know if you remember. It's like, calling America, whole thing was a whole. And he said, "No, that's my name. That is my name. You didn't make a mistake. That's my name." An hour later, the phone rings. He says, "I spoke to my brother and I told him the story." My brother said, "You idiot. Mom had a second name." So, okay, what's the second? Let's try it out. This will be cool to see. So my father, he writes down the second name, and we go to the Stipler, and everything went smooth. This is a story that I saw with my own eyes. Yeah, I have a video of him. It's hard. It's a 50-year-old video. See if I thought I have it here. Check this out. This is somebody just put it out today for Lekoved the. Let me see. No. What's going on here? Maybe. Hold on. Maybe I could do this. Oh. Now it's working. Something's working here. It's crazy. Tavshin Chavav. I don't know what are we? We're in Ein Pei Hey. We're in Pei Hey. Yeah, you've seen this? I've never seen it. Here he's building the sukkah himself. I love it because he's doing it himself. He gets on a chair. This is my father. And also this tzitzis that he has, this is what my father used to wear. My father's a Bnei Braki a little bit. It's super long because he holds it. It has to be like he wrote the Kehillas Yaakov. You ever learned in Yeshiva Kehillas Yaakov? Never learned Kehillas Yaakov. It's like the Sefer. You learned Kehillas Yaakov in Yeshiva? How about you? Oh my gosh. You guys don't know what you're missing. Wow. Okay, anyway. Fine. Says the Gemara. Yeah, it is by you. Fine. Ask the Gemara. Be'ir shekula oivdik yechavim nami. Gemara says, even if you have a city full of non-Jews, here Yoshi did something which the Israelis didn't get to see at all. This might be it. Let me just see. Let's go. I don't know what this is. Oh, here we go. Reichlin are these vendors that sell stuff, but really they sell perfume. Yoshi did, what does he do? Gefilte fish and kichel and I don't know what this is. Okay. Anyway, what happened was Ezra made a takana. It's a super interesting thing. He said that he wants that women shouldn't become disgusting to their husbands. It's like this Gana Ishal Bail, it's a big thing in Shas. We see it all the time. And therefore, women should always have perfume. No matter what, they should have perfume. So he said that we have to have these vendors, these, what are they called? Peddlers. Thank you. Peddlers, they go from city to city. And if so, asks the Gemara, if you have these peddlers that are going from city to city, they'll go through the non-Jewish neighborhoods as well, and the guy will be scared and worried to do Avodah Zarah with the fresh wine. We said this many times, we never understood what it was exactly. Here it is. Boom. L'sayim ubariach. I don't know, nothing's working today. 2 doors and a bariach. Crossbar. Shkoyach. And therefore what? So according to Rashi, it just means that once they open the doors, everybody knows that somebody's coming in. They'll open up the doors for the peddlers, but then the guy will get wind of it, and then he'll be careful, and he won't do Avodah Zarah on the wine when they're there. All Rabbi Yosef. And when you have a window like this, then it's like being in front of the public, and the guy will be nervous. Va'ashba, so in those days, we're not familiar with this, you know, we have a different lifestyle, but in those days there's a big heap of trash, and people would use it to relieve themselves. And the concern is, not the concern for the guy is that some Jew is going to use this pile of trash to relieve himself. He has a vantage point. He'll be able to see into the house. So he's going to be careful not to do Avodah Zarah with it. Says the Gemara, V'dikla kirshus ram dami. If there's a palm tree, so now the guy's going to climb up the palm tree. I got to show you. Does anybody like dates? These dates, you've never had a date like this in your life. David, Mr. Anonymous David, sent me 2 packages here to Parks. You like dates? It's literally like candy right over there. Give me that bag. You've never tasted it? Yeah, different. It's like literally eating candy. But no, the other one. Both of them, actually. But the smaller one, I like the smaller one. Give it to him. Everybody take one. You don't have to. So if you go up this palm tree, because we're learning about here, give it to me. Let me show the island what it is. This one I didn't need that many from. It's a whole. Oy vey. It's falling apart in here. What is it called? Organic Halloway dates. I'm telling you, this stuff is unbelievable. This also. You had one?
I had it. Delicious.
Is it? No, it's like.
It's like candy.
It's literally like candy.
I loved it.
Here, give him this one also. It's another type. It's a different type, this one. They both taste like candy, but different types of candy. Anyway, so the guy goes up. If the Jew is going to go up to the palm tree to grab candy, in those days, I never understood why he said, "Oh, if you act good at the Seder, I'll give you a date or something." What are you? No, it's crazy.
I love it.
It's unbelievable. You had one?
Thank you.
It's unbelievable. You can have more. Take. So he says, if the Jew has a reason to go up the palm tree, so again, he has that vantage point. He's up on a tower, looking in. The guy's going to be nervous to start swishing the wine and doing Avodah Zarah stuff with it. Now here, listen to this. Psik Reishe. So this is a borrowed language from Masechta Shabbos, but over here it means that, let's say the top of the palm tree is chopped off like this. Now what? The palm tree. What's the reason for the Jew now to climb the palm tree? Yeah, most of the time you go up to get dates or to get a lulav. What else? Why else would we climb the palm tree? So the Gemara says something else. I'm telling you, this Masechta is unbelievable. It's just the easy flowing Masechta. Pligiba, Rav Achav, Ravina. We have a machlokes, Chadazav, Chasharis. One says it's aser, one says it's mutter. Man the aser. Why would it be aser? Lama de Salakasim. There's no reason for a Jew to climb the tree. Therefore, we have to be concerned that the non-Jew is making wine. By the way, I found the Shach. The Shach says that even when your window is open to Rosh Hashanah and the guy is concerned that people will see him, that's only during the daytime. At night, nobody sees anything. So for the nighttime, you need a shomer. You need a mishgiach to be there. Agapanim, Uman Deshari, the one that says that if you have a broken date treat, like in this picture, Zimna da'avdalei bahema v'salik liyuna basra. Here, check this out. Sometimes your animal goes missing. Me and my son, we're driving here Erev Shabbos, 20 minutes before Shabbos, and we saw a very cute poodle that looked very lost and thirsty. So we went over to it and we tried to look for its owner. Here, check this out. Sometimes you have a guy's looking for his behema, his animal, and therefore it scares the idol worshiper away. Great. Next, Tarabon. So now, case number one. We're going to go through 4 cases. Very, very simple stuff. Here we go. Four cases. The 2 cases on the right are the Resha. The 2 cases on the left are the Seifa. The 2 cases on the right is talking about the wine is owned by the Jew. The 2 cases on the left are talking about the wine is owned by the non-Jew. One case, which is in both cases, either the wine is owned by the Jew or by the non-Jew, is that there's a Jew that lives in that neighborhood, on that block, in the chutzner. In those days, they had like a little bit of a cul-de-sac, and they had a bunch of houses. They shared the yard, they call it a chutzner. The what? Courtyard. If there's a Jew living there, it makes a big difference. Then the guy is scared. And then you have 2 cases where the Jew doesn't live there. Either the Jew owns the wine or doesn't own the wine. He lives there or doesn't live there. Those are the 4 cases. So we start with the first case. Here we go. This is the first case, right over here. The wine is owned by the Jew, and the Jew lives there because he just rented the house. He rented a place to live there. And the Jew lives in that courtyard, mutter. Then the wine has no question of whether it became yain esach because there's a Jew there. Even though the wine is not locked up, there's no seal. Great. Next, Daf Samach Aleph Amud Beis. But what if here, case number 2? This is the Seifa. The wine is owned by the Jew, but the Jew doesn't live there. He lives b'chotzar acheres. He lives in a different street. Mutar, then it's okay. As long as he has a key, he lives in the neighborhood. It'll show up. Now, this is the case that we learned today. If he's producing wine in the non-Jew's house, here we go. So that would be this case right over here. The wine is owned by the non-Jew. Yet the Jew, if you look closely in this picture, you can see what Yoshi did here. There's a house on top and a house on the bottom. The house on the bottom is the Jew's house, and you can see the whole wine factory over there. For instance, this right over here, I'll zoom out so you can see. You see, the ones on the bottom don't have a second house. Yisrael loy gar b'chatzar. Okay, not complicated. So we're holding by this case. The wine is the guy's wine, and the Jew lives there. Now what? Mutar. It's also good as long as the Jew has control, he has the key. And Rabbi Yochanan says no to the one that wrote the Brisa. In this case, where the wine is the guy's, but the Jew lives there, he doesn't need to have the key. Even if he doesn't have the key, it's mutar. Now, final case number 4. Madi, how's the share going so far? But it's slow. It's not a 1.5 speed. What are you doing? It's a problem. It is a problem, right? The ADD it's hard to control. Okay, I got it. A lot of people come to the live share. They listen to most people listen to 1.5 speed, and then they come to the share like, what's going on here? You are talking, including my son. It's like it's It's crazy how slow you talk.
You have to be talking a little faster right now. I don't know why. It's late.
It's in your mind. Yeah, we got to go. Okay, no, we're doing okay in time. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so finally, the last one. Bechotza acheres. If the wine is not the Jew's wine, it's the guy's wine, and the Jew doesn't live in his courtyard, he lives in a different courtyard, asur, then the wine is problematic. It's yain nesach, even if he has control of the key. Divrei Meir. Now, just this is the whole sugya right over here. By the way, there's a new sugya in like 7-8 lines, as you can see, but just for this sugya. V'chachamim. Cham chachamim, and they say, oisrin, it's asur. On what case? Which one of the 4 cases? So common sense would say they're probably talking about the last case. It just flows, right? We just said the last case is what? The worst of the worst cases. The wine is not owned by a Jew, and the Jew doesn't live in the courtyard. So it's asur. Cham chachamim, and they say, oh, by the way, it's asur. We just said it's asur. So yes, it makes sense that they're talking about the last case, but it doesn't make sense because of what they're saying. It just doesn't flow. The chachamim oisrim. It's also unless there was a mashgiach there. Or there's somebody there who comes every hour on the hour. The kitza means we know it's a given time, which is not a good thing. The Gemara is going to, what?
Yeah, why is that okay?
It's a bad thing. The Gemara says it's a mistake. Yeah, the Gemara says it's a mistake. It means he comes whenever he wants to come. Okay, the Gemara is going to fix that soon. So, before the Gemara fixes it, Chachomim Mahayo. Oh. So we'll just do it like this. We have the 4 cases. Sorry. We're just going to go case by case. We're only going to go through 3 cases until we get to it. In other words, the best case scenario is the Jew owns the wine and he lives in the courtyard. That you don't need anything. You don't need a key, nothing. It's great. The worst case is what we're talking about right now, which is the case where Chacham say it's asur, you need a mashgiach. Is it the last case where the wine is not owned by a Jew and he doesn't even live in the courtyard? So, by the way, just talking about courtyards, it just hit me. So this place is beautiful, this Park City place, but this particular house where my son-in-law lives in, my son-in-law, I didn't know about this. Like, so they told me, oh, we have a community center where my son-in-law does a lot of his like phone calls and whatever. There's a 2-story thing. So today's the first time I went there. It's beautiful. There's a pool. We weren't going to use the pool, but during the week, it's empty. And then I have 2 brand new pickleball courts and a tennis court and a basketball court. All brand new, everything. You have to have a key, come in, it's some parking lot, everything. All the houses in this neighborhood have access to that thing, which is, it's walking, it's like 1 minute away. It's like behind this house over there. I mean, it's cool. That's the courtyard. Today, what? The clubhouse, yeah. I should know about that stuff. No, I do have some clubhouses. But this is it's a little nicer than what we have. I don't know that we have tennis courts. No. I say it's awesome. No, one day, after I retire. Yeah, so, yeah, we're not going to go into it. The real. So, in the beginning when I started touring properties, so I'd ask the guy, what kind of people live? Excuse me, you want me, I can't. So then I came up with this thing. Do they play tennis here or they play basketball? What are they? Kids here. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, my properties, they don't play so much tennis. They're not into pickleball. But it's a good sport. Now, so we want to know what a Chacham. Chacham said asur. Is it on the last case? Here we go. Last case, the worst case scenario. So says the Gemara, no, impossible. Why? Oh, Ilema Seifa, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 lines from the top. Ilema Seifa, which means the Seifa of the Seifa, because we have a Reisha and a Seifa. There's 2 cases in the Reisha, 2 cases in the Seifa. So we're talking about the second case in the Seifa, which is the bottom left corner. Tanakama Nami Meisik Asar. What do you mean Chacham say it's Asar? Even the Tanakama says it's Asar. What are they adding? Everybody holds it's Asar. So it can't be that Chacham are saying that it's Asar on the last case. Ve'ela a Reisha the Seifa. They're talking about the Seifa, but the first case of the Seifa. Let's do this. Click. We're going to blow that guy up a little bit. Here we go. Boom. The first case in the Seifa. What's the first case in the Seifa? The Jew does not own the wine, but he lives there. Oh. Rabbi Yochanan told the Tana, you should read it. What do you mean? It's such a good case. It's such a nice thing. So he doesn't own the wine, but he lives there. You don't even need a key. What do you mean Chacham say it's Aser? Ve'ela Sefer Dereisha. So now we have to go finally, and this is the last situation. We're talking about the wine is owned by a Jew, but the Jew doesn't live there. Fine. Okay, we got this is dead, really. Now what? The Tanakama holds that if the Jew owns the wine, but he doesn't live there, he must have a key. The Chachamim no, it's not. It's Aser. A key is not enough. We need a mashgiach. What? Today, I once said the story. Yoshi, our artist, his brother worked in a wine factory, and he sees a guy taking like his, the cleaning stuff, and he climbs up the ladder into this giant vat. Imagine it was full of wine, right? What is that thing worth? I don't know, $500,000. Who knows what? It's like the size of this room. You know what I'm talking about? And he's like, stop, get down. I don't know how it usually works in these factories. They're not allowed to go into certain rooms. It's probably locked. But let's say he opened it up and he started cleaning by mistake. That's it. You're done. You got to get rid of it. You got to sell it to somebody else. A lot of halachas. That's why you have these two svarim over here. So, or you have a guy that comes in once in a while every hour. As the Gemara, Memuna Bala Kitzin Geruso, it's a terrible. The guy knows exactly when he's coming. What do you mean? Oh, it means that the guy could show up whenever he wants to. So now going back to the babysitter situation, and this is something that I have friends, and my good friend Molandi has this issue, and I've never spoke to him about it. Moshe, correct. But what do you do when you have a second marriage and you have your son? It could be a teenager, yeah? And there's another woman in the house. And then you go to daven, you go here, you go to work, and then there's a constant problem with yichud. So maybe some rabbanim are matter. I don't know how it works exactly, but I'm just going on the little that I know, right? I'm not pasking halachas, of course. And I'm sure people have a terim and also all sorts of things. I have a friend that had a big problem. Like he got remarried, and his wife came into the marriage. His daughter's actually my daughter's best friend, or used to be, or it still is. I don't know. But she was adopted or whatever it's called at a very, very young age. Now what do you do? Like the father treats her like his own daughter, but it becomes a problem halachically when she gets older. It's speak to your local rabbi. But one thing that I saw that could be a solution to the babysitter thing and to this other, second marriage thing is if you give your neighbor a key, and the neighbor can come in whenever they want. Some say two neighbors, one neighbor. The bottom line is that's the Gemara right over here. Because what I'm trying to tell you is that the halachas of Yain Nesach and the halacha of Yichud are very similar. In other words, what's a solution for Yain Nesach? Because somebody could come in or someone could see through a window or something, is the same solution for the Yichud issue that we have. Oh, yes, thank you. I have to do that, and they forgot to remind me. Turning of the Daf, sponsored by Adar Global. MDY is enjoying the benefit of Maestros of Adar's MDY clients. Anonymous, L'zech Nishmas, Chaim Ben Lozer Ashkenazi. Anonymous, as it's chus, Fatzlochim Ruchnis in Gashmias. Wow, okay. The MDY Chaver is unbelievable. I'll tell you after share the stories, the chizuk. But the stories that we have are like back in the day, and I just wrote about it in the Ami maybe 2 weeks ago. Last year, I don't remember anymore. When that kid was nifter from Lakewood, and Mark Ashkenazi went and sent gifts and boxes and a computer. He's the guy always doing and sending. So now the Olam is doing the Nishmas' father. Okay? Tremendous Baal Chesed. Rav Shimon Lazoimer. You want to hear? I got to tell you the story. I don't know if you ever heard a story of chesed like this in your life. Last year, I was in Chicago, like this time of the year, maybe. I don't know. I have a house in Chicago. We used to live in Chicago, so we still have a house there. We go there twice a year, whatever. This year, we didn't make it there. But last year, he showed up with Yossi Klein, the guy, our CEO, and they just came to Shmuz for a few hours. And he comes with this big, giant suitcase. Like, then he says, "Do you have a freezer?" It's like, "Yeah." So he puts all this meat in my freezer, schmoozing, and then he says, "Okay, I got to catch another flight." And he flies. So he flew from New York to Chicago, which is in center of the United States, and then he's taking another flight to Phoenix. He has a house in Phoenix. So what happened was this guy from the Shear was asking him about different vacation spots and this and that. So he tells the guy, "I have a place in Phoenix. Why don't you use it?" Now, I warned the Olam never to ask Mark Ashkenazi for this place, okay? Don't be that guy. So there was a special case, a guy that really needed a lot of chizuk, and he said, "Okay, fine." So I'm like, "Where are you going?" He didn't even tell me. Yossi Klein told me that he flew to Phoenix to make sure that the guy has a stocked freezer of meat so he can make barbecues, and that the linen is nice and clean. And he took a flight. He was there for an hour, filled up the freezer with meat, and came back to New York. Flew back to. I'm not making this up. This is a true story of a guy, and this is the guy that's sitting shiva now. He's the guy that doesn't make money, obviously, from MDY. He does this all hours of the day, twice a day. Whenever I tell him, "Okay, let's go. What's a Shabbos? It's Friday afternoon." Unbelievable. Anyways, is that not a crazy story of Chesed? It's unbelievable. So now we have to understand what we learned in the Mishnah. Reb Shimon ben Elazar says a funny language. All goyim, their property is one. What does that mean? Reb Shimon ben Elazar lahakel or lahachmer? Was he trying to say a kula or chumrah? Rav Yehuda Amar ze'eri lahakel. It was a kula. In other words, he's asking a question. You think all properties are the same? In other words, if you put the wine in your neighbor's property, you shouldn't have a problem of yain nesach. No, he said it in a lashon nichusa, says Rashi. It wasn't a question. It was like all non-Jewish properties are the same. Meaning, if you take the wine out of this non-Jew and put it in the other non-Jew, you didn't gain anything. It's yain nesach. Just like in his own property was also, the Tanakama holds it doesn't matter which property you put the wine, there's a problem of yayin nesach. And I'm concerned that they're going to do shtick with each other. I'll do yayin nesach in my property, you do it in your, like I'll come to your property, I'll do it in yours, and you'll come to mine and do it in mine. We'll make a deal. That's only in his own rishus. There's a problem. If you do it acher, if you do it in your neighbor's property, mutter, then there's no problem. If I put my wine in my neighbor's property. Reb Shimon ben Elazar is not concerned that they do deals. That they like if I allow you to do yain nesach on my property, then tomorrow you'll allow me to do in your. No, we're not concerned about that. Reb says no. All properties are the same. The opposite. The Tanakam is the one that's makel. The Tanakam says only in your rishos and not in your neighbor's rishos. And the Tanakam says I'm not concerned about deals. Then comes Reb Shimon ben Elazar. He's machmer. Kol rishos machasi. No, all property of the non-Jew is the same, and therefore I got to be concerned of yain nesach in all properties. Tanakam will say and I have a right to this. Or Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Kol Rishus Avdei Achasi Mipnei Ramayim. Here you see, Reb Shimon ben Elazar himself says that the problem is that we're concerned that people are going to make deals with each other. So it doesn't matter if I put in my neighbor's Rishus, I have to be concerned for yain nesach. Says the Gemara story, debate Parzak Rupilia. The guy's name was Parzak, interesting name, but he happened to be second in command under the king. They took the Jew gave him his wine to watch, and he gave the wine to another non-Jew, a sharecropper. So Rabban want to say, when am I concerned for deals? Two normal neighbors. This guy is like a second right after the king. the sharecropper is never going to return the favor and ask him to watch his barrels of wine. And I'm not concerned for some sort of deal. No, you got it wrong. Adarabba. In this case, it's even worse. Why? Because he's second in command. If he's right there with the king, then he's going to do the Avodah Zarah, and nobody's going to be able to say anything. Nobody's going to be able to stop him. Even if you hold that I'm not concerned for a deal, when the guy's not scared of him, people are scared of him, and therefore you're going to cover for him. There was a city, there was wine of the Jew. You walk into a place and boom, you find a guy who's not supposed to be there. You know what happens sometimes? All of a sudden, you see this non-Jew walking around there. What are you doing here? If it's the type of place that if you get caught, you go to jail, it's a whole big deal. I'm not concerned about the wine because the guy's not going to risk his life to go to jail because of this yain nesach business that he wants to do. But if he's not concerned about getting into trouble, also, why is he there next to your barrels? He's doing foilish shtick, as they say. He's doing yain nesach, and therefore it's also Hadran Allah, Rabbi Shmuel. Before you run away, I just want to do the maskana. Hadran Allah, Rabbi Shmuel. Hadran Allah, Rabbi Shmuel. We have here a Rashi that's very, very unique. I don't recall when we had something like this. I'm sure it's other places in Shas, but certainly not very common. And I saw them explain that Rashi is from France, and we know till this very day French are very into their wine. So it was a big concern for Rashi. So Rashi goes out of his way to take the entire perek, and we had some very cool art. So I want to share with you what Rashi says and combine it with some of the art that we did. Oh, this is a problem. Okay, I'll just read it inside here. Says Rashi, Mago Ovid Kechavim. So if you didn't do this perek, if this is your first time here, so you get a whole review of the perek in 4 minutes. It says like this. If a non-Jew touches your wine, he tried to, he wanted to, he had an intent to touch it, and he moved the wine, even though he didn't pour it. The typical thing is to do a libation, to pour the wine in front of the Avodah Zarah. He didn't do it like that. He put his hand in there and went like this. Also, bahano, you're not allowed to even sell it. You have to spill it out. How do we know this? A gardamin, I'm just going to show you real quickly. This is the case where the guy in charge of weights and balances, how do they say it in English today? Weights and, not this one.
Weights and balances?
Weights and measures. Oops. My buttons are not working, Avrami.
See that.
This is the story where the guy in charge, the guy in the red robe, is the non-Jew. He drilled a hole in the barrel to taste the wine. His job is to taste wine, to make sure that people are not ripping other people off, that you're charging the right amount. He definitely didn't have kavana to make yain nesach. He's doing his job. He's tasting it. Nevertheless, it's also bano. Why? Because we have the concept lech lecham neziro. We tell the nazir stay away from vineyard. We tell a guy stay away from our wine. Shalei kavana. What if a non-Jew touched your wine by mistake? He didn't realize that it was wine. Then it's mutar. How do we know this? You guys remember the story from the Meshugana? Look at this crazy guy. He put his hand in the wine instead of putting it into the oil. That's the story. Look at his eyes. Wow, scary stuff. So that we say. V'chein nafal bar. Oh, one of my favorites from this parak. There's the guy that fell into the pit. It's mamish. Avrami worked late at night to fix this issue. I see him on the. So this guy, he fell into the pit. Obviously, he wasn't trying to do yain nesach. Then it's mutar bahana. V'chein iskaven lito v'achi konesrig. The Ravashi. This one. Remember this one? This is supposed to be an esrig. I don't know why. His feet are backward. This is some guy, Miller sent it to us. Oh, so from that one,
Reached upon the brink. Hold his hand still, Reva, she cried, and tipped the barrel on its side.
A.M. Miller, Usher Miller. He's the guy that made this. Okay, great. It came just in time, because our artist, he did this one, but he was on vacation in his manim, so other people stepped in. It was very nice. What if a non-Jew uses something other than his hand, like a stick? We know that he meant something else. Like he was trying to measure the wine with a stick. Or he hit this as a tzira, which is really a combination of this story where he was using, we're not going to show the whole thing again, but he's using a stick to get the wasp. You're allowed to sell it. You can't drink it. That we know from the Mishnah. If he had intent, but we don't know what he meant. Also, the biram, the shayir rav mishum, the shaloi b'kavana hava. Oh, this is the lulav case. This is the lulav case. Chaval, I told him not to put it in. Okay. Ariel, put in the lulav, the guy climbing the tree with the lulav, and he puts the lulav into the cup. Okay, so that's that one. Hikir boy shu yayin, also ba'anam the Rabbi Yochanan would say v'achris al yenam mishum yayin nesach mishum lech lech. So what's the story over here? I think we're talking about this, yeah. This one. Ma'uvda. No, sorry. This is this one. Yeah, that's that one. And then Lohikaboy Mutar Avashtia, if he didn't recognize, he didn't know about he didn't know that it's wine. So that was the case that we had. If you remember, there were two Amoraim sitting, and they didn't realize he's a guy, and they said, "Could you please pour us a cup of this?" And the waiter didn't know that it's wine. He thought it was beer. The kitzer, then we know from this one, the Chatshori Afil B'Shtiyah, Mishum David Yicham Le'Aviyada, it was a machlokes if it's even mutter to drink or not. So then we had the case of the barrel, mutter avishti, when you throw something into a whole pool of wine, since you threw it, you didn't do it with a stick, it's mutter even to drink. The Rashi, Kol Shabbos Tar, remember, a Zav who throws something doesn't make another person Tameh, so too, when it comes to the wine. And then it says all the way there, this is what Rashi wrote, Upasak halacha lamaisa, and he made this halacha lamaisa, Rabboisai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.